You will share my bed tonight, human. Alien princess's bold demand. The Hall of Radiant Accord was built to make visitors feel small. Its ceiling rose like a frozen wave of light, formed from crystal panels that shifted color with every sound. Alien symbols floated in the air, glowing softly, recording every word spoken inside. Rows of elevated platforms surrounded the central floor, each holding representatives from different species, tall, scaled, winged, luminous, or made of shapes no human language could fully describe. At the very center stood Commander Elias Rourke of Earth. He stood alone. Elias wore a simple dark uniform with no medals. Humanity had decided long ago that decorations meant little to beings who judged worth by survival, not ceremony. His posture was straight, his hands relaxed at his sides, his face calm. Inside, his heart beat steadily, not fast, not slow. He had trained for this moment for years. This was humanity's first full negotiation with the Aurelian Concord, the most powerful interstellar alliance in known space. And it was not going well. A tall alien with golden skin and four glowing eyes leaned forward from one of the platforms. The human envoy speaks again of equality, the alien said, its voice layered with harmonic echoes. Yet your species has existed among the stars for less than 2 centuries. You bring no ancient wisdom, no great empire, no proof of endurance. Soft sounds rippled through the hall, alien versions of laughter. Elias did not react. We bring something else, he said evenly. We bring adaptability, cooperation, and a record of surviving conditions that should have ended us many times over. Another voice cut in, sharp and cold. Survival is not greatness. All eyes shifted toward the highest platform. There, seated upon a throne of living crystal, was Princess Sarilith of Aurelian. She was unlike any human had ever seen. Tall and slender, her form was almost graceful, yet there was a strength in her posture that spoke of command. Her skin shimmered like pale starlight, faintly glowing with inner energy. Long strands of silver-blue hair flowed down her back, moving as if touched by a breeze that did not exist. Her eyes, bright, faceted, and ancient, rested on Elias with focused intensity. She was young by Aurelian standards, and very dangerous. You speak well for a soft species, human, Sarilith said, but words do not bind the conquered, traditions do. Elias inclined his head slightly. Then tell me which tradition we have failed. For a moment the hall was silent. Then Sarilith stood. Light bent around her as she descended from the throne, her feet never quite touching the floor. Each step carried power, not loud, not aggressive, but absolute. When she reached the edge of the central platform, she stopped and looked directly at Elias. Her gaze did not wander. It did not soften. You have failed the trial of union, she said. A low murmur spread across the chamber. Elias frowned slightly. No such trial was mentioned in the diplomatic records. That is because, Sarilith replied, it is not offered to lesser species. The murmurs grew louder. Elias felt the weight of the moment settle onto his shoulders. Humanity's future balance among the stars rested on what happened next. Explain the trial, he said. Sarilith's lips curved, not into a smile but something close. Our alliances are not formed by ink and speech, she said. They are formed by trust, vulnerability, and shared presence. By ancient right, a prospective ally must accept a bond with Aurelian's royal line. She paused. You will share my bed tonight, human. The words echoed through the hall. Silence fell like a dropped blade. Elias did not move. Inside his mind, alarms rang, not of fear but of caution. He understood enough alien cultures to know that words rarely meant the same thing across species. Still, the phrasing was direct. Bold, intentionally shocking. Around him, alien representatives leaned forward eagerly. Some watched with amusement, others with curiosity, a few with open contempt. The human delegation, watching remotely from Earth, held their breath. Elias lifted his chin. Clarify your meaning, he said calmly. A ripple of surprise passed through the chamber. Sarilith tilted her head slightly. "You do not understand." "I do not assume," Elias replied. "Humanity has learned the cost of assumptions." The princess studied him for a long moment. Her eyes flickered faintly as if reading more than his face. "The bed of union," she said at last, "is not a place of physical claim as your species understands it. It is a ceremonial space, a shared state of consciousness, a test." "A test of what?" Elias asked. "Of strength," she replied, "of identity, of whether your mind can stand beside ours without breaking." Elias processed this carefully. "And if I refuse?" Sarilith's gaze hardened. "Then humanity will be recorded as unwilling to share trust," she said. "Your petition for equal standing will be denied. You may trade, you may speak, but you will never sit as one of us." The meaning was clear. Humanity would remain small in the eyes of the galaxy. Elias felt the weight of every human who had ever dreamed of the stars: explorers, engineers, survivors, people who had crossed oceans, deserts, and planets simply because they refused to stay still. He also felt the danger. He looked around the hall at the watching aliens, the ancient powers who expected him to hesitate, to falter, to show fear. He met Sarilith's gaze again. "What happens if I accept?" he asked. A faint glow passed through her eyes. "Then you will lie upon the bed of union," she said. "Your mind will open, so will mine. If you endure until dawn, humanity will be recognized as worthy of full alliance. And if I fail," her voice dropped slightly, "then your mind will withdraw," she said, "broken or changed as all others have." Elias nodded slowly. "How many have endured?" he asked. Sarilith did not answer immediately. "None," she said at last. The words settled heavily between them. Elias took a quiet breath. He thought of Earth's history, of plagues survived, wars ended, disasters endured, and mistakes learned from the hard way. He thought of humans adapting again and again, not because they were the strongest, but because they refused to stop. He looked back at the princess. "One more question," he said. Sarilith raised a brow. "You are bold for one already standing at the edge." "You said this bond is about trust," Elias said. "Is it one-sided?" A stir passed through the hall. Sarilith's expression sharpened. "Explain." "If I open my mind," Elias said, "then so do you, fully, no shields, no advantage." The murmurs grew louder. That was not how the trial was meant to go. Sarilith stared at him. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across her face. "No human has ever asked that," she said. "No human has ever been here," Elias replied. The princess straightened slowly. "Very well," she said after a long pause. "The bond will be mutual." A faint smile touched Elias' lips, not of victory but resolve. "Then I accept," he said. The hall erupted in sound, shock, protest, excitement. Sarilith raised one hand and silence returned. "Prepare the bed of union," she commanded. "At the rising of Aurelian's second sun, the trial will begin." Her gaze locked onto Elias one last time. "Rest while you can, human," she said softly. "Dawn comes quickly." Elias bowed his head, not in submission but respect. As he was escorted from the hall, he felt the weight of the stars pressing close. Humanity had not come to kneel. They had come to stand. And tonight, one human would lie beneath alien stars, not to surrender, but to prove that the human mind did not break easily. The chamber of rest given to Commander Elias Rourke was quiet. Too quiet. The walls were smooth and pale, glowing softly with their own light. No sharp corners, no visible doors, no screens. The Aurelians believed silence helped the mind prepare for truth. To Elias, it felt like waiting inside a held breath. He stood near the center of the room, hands behind his back, eyes closed. He did not pray. He did not pace. He thought of Earth's blue skies and crowded cities, of humans arguing, laughing, failing, trying again. He thought of explorers who stepped into the unknown with less information than he had now, and still went forward. This was not bravery, he reminded himself. It was responsibility. A soft tone echoed through the chamber. The time approaches. Elias opened his eyes. Two Aurelian attendants entered, tall and graceful, their movements calm and precise. They carried no weapons. They did not speak further, only gestured for him to follow. Elias adjusted his uniform and stepped forward. The corridors beyond were wide and curved, lit by streams of floating light. As they walked, Elias sensed movement behind the walls, energy flowing, systems watching, ancient technology quietly awake. The bed of union was not hidden. It was displayed. The attendants led him into a vast circular chamber open to the stars. A transparent dome arched overhead, revealing space in all directions. One of Aurelian's suns burned softly in the distance, casting gentle gold light across the room. At the center rested the bed. It was not made of fabric or metal. It looked like a smooth platform of crystal and living energy, shaped to support two forms side by side. Symbols glowed faintly across its surface, shifting and changing like slow thoughts. Around the chamber, members of the conquered watched from elevated platforms. Silent, focused, Princess Sarilith stood near the bed. She wore no crown now, no royal marks, only a simple flowing garment that shimmered like starlight. Her posture was straight, but Elias noticed something subtle. She was tense. "Commander Elias Rourke," she said, her voice echoing gently through the chamber. "You stand before the bed of union." Elias stopped a few steps away. "I am here," he replied. "This ritual cannot be halted once begun," Sarilith continued. "Your mind will open. Memories, emotions, intentions, all will be visible. There will be no hiding." "I understand," Elias said, her eyes narrowed slightly. "You show little fear." "I have fear," he answered honestly. "I just don't let it decide for me." A flicker of something unreadable crossed her expression. She gestured toward the bed. "Then lie down." Elias removed his boots and stepped onto the platform. The surface warmed instantly beneath his feet. As he lay back, the crystal adjusted to his shape, supporting him perfectly. Sarilith moved to the opposite side. For a moment she hesitated. This did not go unnoticed. Then she lay down as well. The symbols on the bed brightened. A low hum filled the chamber, deep and steady like a heartbeat. The air shimmered. Light flowed upward, forming thin threads that connected Elias and Sarilith, wrapping gently around their temples and chests. Elias felt pressure, not pain but presence. Then the world shifted. The chamber vanished. He stood on a burning plain beneath a red sky. This was not Earth. Jagged crystal towers rose in the distance. The air felt heavy, charged with energy. Elias realized he was seeing through Sarilith's memory. He felt her pride, her certainty, her belief in Aurelian's strength. He saw her as a child standing before her people, taught that Aurelians were chosen to lead, that others needed guidance, control, protection from themselves. Then the memory changed. Darkness, a battlefield among the stars, ships breaking apart, fire and light tearing through space. Elias felt loss, not personal grief but collective responsibility. Aurelian had survived by making hard choices, by ruling, by deciding who mattered. The weight of that belief pressed against Elias' mind. He stood firm. Then it was Sarilith's turn to see. The red sky shattered. She fell not physically but mentally into chaos. She saw Earth, not as one image but many, storms tearing cities apart, humans digging through ruins with bare hands, children learning in broken classrooms, people standing in long lines sharing what little they had. She felt hunger, she felt fear, she felt anger, and then she felt persistence. Wars ended not by total victory but by exhaustion and understanding. Nations falling, then rebuilding. Humans arguing fiercely, then working together when it mattered most. She felt laughter in the middle of disaster, hope in hopeless places. She felt something that shook her deeply. Defiance, not loud, not arrogant, but quiet and unyielding. Humans did not believe they were chosen. They believed they had to earn tomorrow every single day. Sarilith tried to pull back. The bond did not allow it. She saw humans stepping into space not to rule but to explore, to ask questions, to reach out even when afraid of what might answer. She felt Elia's memories now. Training, loss of comrades, the weight of command, the fear of making the wrong choice and making it anyway because someone had to. She felt his thoughts in this moment. I will not break. The pressure increased. The bed of union tested limits. For Elia's images came faster now, Aurelian achievements, control, order, stability. A society built on certainty. But he also felt something beneath it. Fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of change. Fear that something unpredictable like humanity could undo everything. Sarilith felt her confidence crack. This was not how the trial went. The human mind was not collapsing. It was expanding, accepting, holding contradictions without breaking. The watchers around the chamber began to stir. Symbols flickered wildly. Energy readings spiked. "This is not normal," one elder whispered. The bond deepened. Elias felt strained now. His head pounded. His breath came harder. But he focused not on resisting but on understanding. He did not fight the alien thoughts. He let them exist beside his own. Sarilith gasped softly. For the first time in her life she felt truly seen. Not admired, not obeyed, seen. The bond trembled. A sharp tone echoed through the chamber. Warning signals. The ritual had never gone this far. Sarilith tried to speak, but words did not exist here. Instead, she sent a thought. "Why are you still standing?" Elias answered without words, because breaking has never been an option. The pressure peaked. Then silence. The stars returned. The chamber reformed. The light threads faded slowly. Elias lay still, breathing hard, sweat cooling on his skin. His vision blurred, then cleared. Beside him, Sarilith sat upright, her expression pale, her glowing skin dimmed. The bed's symbols faded to a soft glow. The watchers stared in stunned silence. No alarms, no collapse. The bond had not failed, it had completed. Sarilith looked at Elias. Her voice when she spoke was quiet. "You endured," she said. Elias turned his head slightly. "So did you." Something changed in her eyes, respect, and something deeper. The second son of Aurelian began to rise beyond the dome, casting light across them both. The trial was not yet judged, but the galaxy had just witnessed something new. A human mind had stood beside an ancient power. And did not kneel. The news spread through the Aurelian conquered faster than light. A human had survived the bed of union. Worse, he had changed it. In the hours after the ritual, Commander Elias Rourke was kept under careful watch, not as a prisoner but not as a guest either. He was given a quiet chamber near the central council ring, guarded by silent sentinels of living crystal. Elias sat on a smooth bench, hands resting on his knees, staring at the faint glow of the wall. His body was tired. His mind felt wider. Thoughts came easily, but they carried weight now. He remembered flashes of Aurelian memory not as images, but as understanding, order, pride, fear of chaos. He also felt the echo of Sarilith's presence, distant but real, like a star still warm after sunset. A soft chime sounded. The door opened. Princess Sarilith entered alone. She looked different. Her posture was still strong, but her usual sharp confidence was muted. Her eyes glowed more softly now, and there was tension in her movements, as if she were carrying something fragile inside. "The council has not yet decided," she said, stopping a few steps away. Elias nodded. "I assumed as much." "They are divided," Sarilith continued. "Some call what happened a success, others call it contamination." "That word is familiar," Elias said calmly. Her gaze flicked to him. "You have heard it before." "Yes," he replied, "often." She studied him for a moment, then looked away. "The bed of union was designed to test endurance," she said, "not to exchange perspective." "Maybe that was the test you never meant to run," Elias said. She did not answer. Instead, she gestured. "Walk with me." They moved through a high corridor that overlooked the city of Aurelian Prime. Towers of crystal and light rose beneath them, connected by flowing bridges. Ships moved silently through the air like schools of fish. This world was built on control, Sarilith said. Order kept us alive when the galaxy was hostile. And it worked, Elias said. Yes, she agreed, for a long time. They stopped near a wide window. Now the elders fear that your presence will weaken that order, she said. That humans bring chaos. Elias looked out at the city. Chaos isn't always destruction, he said. Sometimes it's change. Her jaw tightened. Change breaks empires. Or saves them, Elias replied. She turned to him sharply. Do you truly believe your species is ready to stand among powers like the conquered? Elias met her gaze without hesitation. No, he said. She blinked, surprised. But we're ready to learn, he continued. And to adapt. We always are. Sarilith looked away again. The council chamber called for her presence soon after. Elias was escorted to a viewing platform where he could observe but not speak. The High Council assembled, 12 elders from the oldest species of the conquered. Their forms varied greatly, but their authority was unmistakable. Princess Sarilith stood before them. Report the outcome, commanded Elder Threx, a towering being of layered stone and light. The human endured the ritual, Sarilith said. The bond was mutual as agreed. And the effects? Asked another elder. Sarilith hesitated. The effects were unprecedented. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The human mind did not fracture, she continued. It integrated. A hiss of disapproval came from one platform. Impossible, said a thin, shadowed figure. The bed exposes weakness. Then perhaps, Sarilith said evenly, we misunderstand strength. The room fell silent. Elder Threx's many eyes focused on her. You speak dangerously, princess. I speak truth, she replied. The human did not dominate, he did not submit, he endured, and in doing so revealed flaws in our assumptions. Another elder leaned forward. Are you suggesting we elevate humanity to equal status? I am suggesting, Sarilith said, that denying them now would be fear, not wisdom. Anger flared among several council members. Fear keeps us alive, one snapped. So does adaptation, she shot back. The council recessed, voices rising as the elders argued among themselves. Elias watched in silence. He could feel the tension even from afar. He knew this moment mattered, not just for humanity but for the conquered itself. Later, unrest spread through the city. Some citizens gathered in glowing plazas debating loudly. Others withdrew uneasy. Messages moved across networks, speculation growing wild. A rumor spread quickly. The human had influenced the princess. Elias was no longer just an envoy. He was a symbol. That night, an alert sounded in the corridor outside his chamber. Elias rose instantly. The door slid open and Sarilith stepped inside, breath quick, eyes sharp. We need to move, she said. What's happening? Elias asked. A faction within the council believes removing you will restore balance, she said. They are wrong but dangerous. Assassination, Elias asked. Political erasure, she replied. Quieter, final. Elias nodded once. Where do we go? To the old observatory, she said. Few remember it exists. They moved swiftly through hidden passages beneath the palace. The corridors were older here, carved before modern design, lit by fading light. As they ran, Sarilith spoke quietly. I did not expect this, she admitted. I believed the ritual would confirm what we already knew. And instead, Elias asked. And instead it showed me what we ignore, she said. That certainty can be a cage. They reached the observatory, a wide dome overlooking a field of distant stars. For a moment they stood in silence. I put you in danger, Sarilith said. Elias shook his head. I chose to stand here, she turned to him. Why? Because running from misunderstanding never fixed anything, he said. She searched his face. You could have broken, she said softly. Many would have. So could you, Elias replied. But you didn't. A low signal pulsed across the city. The council reconvened in emergency session. The time had come. Sarilith straightened. They will decide now, she said, and not all outcomes are peaceful. Elias stepped beside her. "Whatever happens," he said, "humanity will remember this moment." She nodded slowly. "Then so will the stars." As they walked back toward the heart of power, the conquered stood at a crossroads, not of war, but of belief. And one human had forced them to look into a mirror they had avoided for centuries. The High Council chamber was full, not only with elders but with witnesses. Representatives from dozens of species filled the outer platforms, watching in silence. News of what had happened spread too far, too fast. This decision could not be hidden. Whatever the conquered chose today would shape the future of the galaxy. Commander Elias Rourke stood once more at the center. He stood alone, but this time he was not small. The memory of the bed of union still echoed in the chamber. The elders felt it, even if they refused to name it. They had seen the readings. They had heard the reports. A human mind had endured what none before had. Princess Sarilith stood beside the council ring. She wore her crown again, but it felt heavier now. Elder Threx spoke first, his voice deep and slow. "The trial is complete," he said. "The question remains, what does it mean?" A ripple of quiet tension moved through the chamber. Another elder, sharp-voiced and narrow-eyed, leaned forward. "It means the ritual failed in its purpose. It was corrupted." Elias remained silent. Sarilith's jaw tightened. "The ritual revealed truth," she said. "That is its highest purpose." "That truth threatens our order," the elder snapped. "Our order is not the universe," Sarilith replied. "It is a choice." Murmurs spread. Elder Threx raised one massive hand. "Enough, we will hear all positions." One by one the elders spoke. Some argued that humanity was too unpredictable, too emotional, too fast-growing. They warned that giving humans equal standing would weaken the conquered's careful balance. Others argued the opposite. They spoke of stagnation, of old systems failing quietly, of species that once thrived now fading because they refused to adapt. At last, Elder Threx turned his many eyes toward Elias. "Human envoy," he said, "you may speak." Elias stepped forward. He did not raise his voice. He did not bow, he simply spoke. "Humanity did not come here to take," he said. "We came to stand." He looked around the chamber. "We know we are young among the stars," he continued. "We know we make mistakes, we always have." Some elders shifted uncomfortably. "But we learn," Elias said. "We change. We survive not because we are perfect, but because we refuse to stop trying." He paused. "You tested us with your oldest ritual," he said. "Not to break us, but to confirm your certainty." His eyes met Sarilith's briefly. "That certainty cracked," he said. "Not because humans are stronger, but because we are used to uncertainty." Silence held the chamber. "We don't ask to rule," Elias finished. "We ask to belong." He stepped back. The council withdrew to deliberate. Time passed slowly. Outside the chamber, the city waited. News streams flickered with speculation. Some feared change, others hoped for it. Inside a quiet side hall, Sarilith stood alone. Her thoughts were not calm. She felt the echo of the bond still, human persistence layered beside Aurelian control. She understood now that the conquered strength had also been its weakness. She remembered Elias' memories, not glory, endurance. When the council summoned her back, she knew the moment had come. The elders returned to their seats. Elder Threx spoke. "The conquered stands at a threshold," he said. "We may close the door or step forward." He turned to Sarilith. "As heir to Aurelian, your voice carries weight. Speak." All eyes turned to her. Sarilith stepped into the center of the chamber. She looked at the elders, then at the gathered species, then at Elias. "I was raised to believe we were guides," she said, "that others needed our control." Her voice did not shake. "But I shared a mind with a human," she continued, "and I learned something uncomfortable." She lifted her chin. "Strength is not certainty," she said. "It is resilience." A stir passed through the chamber. "The human did not dominate me," she said. "He did not submit, he stood." Her gaze hardened. "If we deny humanity now, it will not be wisdom," she said. "It will be fear." Silence fell. Elder Threx closed his eyes for a long moment. Then he spoke. By ancient law, the conquered recognizes those who endure the bed of union as worthy of equal voice. Gasps echoed. Commander Elias Rourke, Elder Threx continued. Humanity is granted full standing within the Aurelian conquered. The chamber erupted. Some voices cried out in anger, others in approval, some in disbelief. Elias did not move. Princess Sarilith turned toward him. "This decision binds us," she said. Elias nodded. "So does responsibility." Order was eventually restored. Treaties were drafted. Seats were reassigned. Humanity's symbol was added to the conquered's records, not as a client, not as a subject, but as a member. Later, as the chamber emptied, Elias stood near the observatory once more. Sarilith joined him. "The galaxy will change now," she said. "It always does," Elias replied. She studied him carefully. "You do not celebrate," she observed. "This isn't an ending," he said. "It's a beginning." She considered that. "You challenged us without weapons," she said, "without threats." "That's how humans survived each other," Elias said. "Eventually." A faint, thoughtful smile touched her lips. "I demanded you share my bed," she said quietly. "I believed it would prove you were lesser." "And instead?" Elias asked. "And instead," she said, "it proved we were not complete." They stood together, watching distant stars burn quietly. "Will humanity change the conquered?" she asked. Elias shook his head. "No," he said. "We'll change with it." She nodded slowly. For the first time, the future felt open. Across the galaxy, messages spread. Humanity had not conquered, they had not begged, they had endured, and the stars had noticed. Far from Aurelian Prime, human worlds received the news. Not with loud cheers, but with quiet pride. Engineers went back to work. Explorers charted new routes. Children looked up at the sky and imagined something new. Humanity did not kneel before the galaxy. They stood, and in standing they earned their place among the stars.